is always pursuant. The state of Qatar is always pursuant to expand its economy by promoting entrepreneurs in diverse fields of businesses. In this wake, we need to remind ourselves that better results are possible only through teamwork and collective initiatives. I would leave the floor to our experts for today's evening to share more details and numbers on showcasing the strong relationship between both the countries. On behalf of IBPC, we hereby assure and extend our full support in expanding this bilateral ties more stronger with higher efficiency to engage and empower Indian business and professionals by creating enrichment opportunities and enhancing Indo-Qatari trade and professional relations. I would also like to thank all of you for attending this mega event, and special thanks to our associate organization, Doha ICI chapter, and Mr. Nilab and his team for all the tremendous support towards this event. And we look forward to hear from our experts today. Thank you very much and good evening to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Sir, for these wonderful words. I'll invite now CA Rupalakshmi Sethi, Vice President Finance and Investment, for her brief address. CA Rupalakshmi is a fellow member of the ICI and currently she is a Vice President of IBPC for Investment and Finance. She's an Associate Director with Capitair Consulting Qatar and also the past chairman of the Doha chapter of ICI, under whom I had a privilege to work. She has a corporate experience of over 17 years in multicultural and multinational team in different sectors, such as manufacturing, processing, construction, and education. And being a prolific orator, she has been a moderator, panelist, and speaker in different national and international forums. CA Rupalakshmi Sethi, over to you.
Thank you, Nilab, for the quick and short introduction of mine. Good evening to one and all present here for this virtual event. It's indeed a pleasure to address you all for this mega investment summit. IBPC, under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, is facilitating cross-border investments between Qatar and India, where there are a lot of opportunities on both the sides. We're trying to bridge the gap and the requirements and investments between these two countries. With the vision to enhance Indo-Qatari trade and professional relations, we are grateful to His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to State of Qatar, for leading Indian Business and Professional Council and wholeheartedly supporting its initiatives. Contributing to his astounding vision, we are thankful to you, sir. And it's our privilege to welcome you today evening as a chief guest for the Bilateral Investment Summit organized by DCICI in association with IBPC today evening. Dr. Deepak Mittal is an Indian Foreign Service Officer from 1998 batch. He has served as a Consular General in Vietnam and other various capacities in Bangladesh, Egypt, and Israel. Dr. Mittal has served in Prime Minister's office in New Delhi. He was Joint Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, and he has served as Joint Secretary in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to State of Qatar, for his brief address. Over to you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, Rupalakshmi ji. Very good evening to everyone. Especially, I would thank our team, Invest India team from India. It's odd hours there, but your commitment to this event is benefit with your kind presence and agreeing to have this at this hour, despite being very late in India. Thank you very much at the outset, and also President IBPC, Zafar Siddiqui, his entire team of IBPC, Mr. Nila Bhatt, President of the ICI Doha chapter, and his entire team, and all those, and of course our guest of honor, Mr. Obaidli, a good friend of India, always a supporter of promoting India-Qatar relationship, economic investment, trade partnership. I'm a board member of the Qatar Chamber of Commerce. In his capacity, he has been doing wonders. Grateful and honored to have him as our guest of honor at this event today, as also others who have joined. Indeed, I think I do not want to take a long hours or long floor. because we have the experts who will deal with the subject, which is of looking at promoting investments. But I will just do a broad brush environment, as they say, setting in the context of where we are today in terms of India-Qatar partnership. Because investments, a word which I first, when I arrived here in Qatar, and within the first week, I had the honor and privilege to present my credentials to His Highness. In my introductory call on him, he was the one who said that India, the government of India, the Prime Minister of India has a great vision of investments, looking at it, how to work on it, and Qatar supports that vision. And we need to work on how do we promote and realize and work out investments in a win-win proposition. I'm glad as President IBPC, Mr. Zafar Sadiq ji has mentioned, it was the visionary leadership of His Highness, the Amir and the Prime Minister of India, when they agreed and in a telephonic conversation to set up a joint task force on investments to promote investments, expedite investments. And I must say that we have not seen better environment being created when the leadership on both hands are committed and do see attach high priority.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
To do what to promote the relationship, I would say trade, investment, commerce in a partnership into a more comprehensive rather than mere buy, sell kind of. We talk about trade. Trade happens in a buy-sell environment, but the partnerships, the comprehensive partnership, the vision which our leadership has is about not just buy and sell. It's not just about meeting, the needs, immediate needs, but it is about a long-term investment into each other, into each other's progress, prosperity, stability, into each other's vision. India today at 75 has a vision to even emerge as a more developed economy, more developed country by 2047 when we reach 100 years, when we are celebrating our century of our independence. And Qatar, which has a great vision 2030, also has a very comprehensive vision of where Qatar would be, the leadership where they want it to be. So within these parameters, I do see a great support from the leadership and a great environment which does exist for businesses, for investors from both sides. In India, during the COVID times, past 2 years have been challenging in terms when it comes to the environment. But if I look at it for the economic environment, commercial investment environment, it has been seen that this challenge has been converted into an opportunity with a series of reform measures which have been adopted in India with a view to ease in a way how you do business with India in India. Environment created in terms of how your investment environment, how it has been liberalized into sectors, reforms which have opened up sectors. I'm sure our colleagues from Invest India would be throwing more light in their presentations into the opportunities which there are, but they are across the spectrum, where even 100% investments is being now allowed as a foreign direct investments. How a series of new initiatives in form of monetization pipeline, which has been unrolled late last year, which provides a new new investment tool also in a win-win proposition, as also creating of flexibility into the investment instruments, depending upon how any foreign direct investor would like to do, whether take a 100% stake, take a partnership, public-private partnership, 100% partnership, or flexibility into the capital market and other instruments. So there's a all set of instruments which have been rolled out, as also is the direct, and this is all possible with the direct connect, which the leadership, I know Prime Minister of India himself holds a regular annually investment summits conferences with the leading CEOs, investors globally, led by the Department of Economic Affairs, Invest India's efforts into understanding what are the challenges, what are the kind of things that we need to take, and inputs for that really. I show the commitment of our leadership to have those inputs and to look at possible policy development around it to promote the environment. As far as Qatar is concerned, besides the joint task force on investments, we do have, as was indicated, a joint task force on energy. We have a healthy historical relationship, which forms a strong backbone, provide a strong backbone to promote trade and investment partnership. There is Invest India is working and looking at partnership with Investment Promotion Agency of Qatar. I'm aware, and I'm sure we will be able to take it forward, which opens up new chapters of looking at the investment promotion. It's how we are proud of our Invest India, how they are creating new milestones, new achievements, the wonderful international recognition, the prizes that have been given to Invest India is because of the hard work of the entire Invest India team. And really, you are driving force for all of us. So thank you very much for agreeing being here today, looking at Qatar. Besides, I know you are taken the initiative to look at developing new bridges with Qatar, even in terms of the startup bridges. We take pride in India, how we are now emerging startup capital with over 80 unicorns already in India, 60,000 registered startups. And I think the startup India, under Invest India, as Ms. Astha herself, she's present here as a keynote speaker. She leads. So I think that's a new startup bridge being developed, an initiative being taken by Invest India. Plus, I would say is for our friends from Qatar. I know even for the it's this summits are we normally sometimes undertake. Investments are meant only for our foreign partners, our Qatari partners. But I would say it's equally opportunity to understand for our Indian businesses who are here in Qatar. There are about 15,000 registered Indian businesses here in Qatar who are working, promoting these ties. At the same time, for you, I think good opportunity to understand the environment, investment environment back home in India. And even this provides you the opportunity how you become a strong backbone. I know we have Indian businesses like Coastal Qatar and others who are involved even in investments back home. How that enables these investments, enables development of global supply chains, and not only just manufacturing capacities, but also participating in the global supply chain. So that's a kind of environment. And we are proud that with Qatar, when we talk about, we are participating in each other's supply chains in terms of ensuring Qatar participating in our energy security, India being an important partner in the supply chain for ensuring the food security. Now the health security has emerged as a new dimension, and that opens up altogether newer opportunities with India as a pharmacy of the world, as largest vaccine producers, supplier globally, and with the health security and liberalized investment regime which we have in the health sector, that too also leads to new set of potentials. Qatar Investment Authority, I will remiss if I don't recall their participation, their enthusiasm in looking at India. We have seen over the past 2 years that the investments from Qatar to India have increased 5-folds since March. I was looking at the statistics since March 2020. Today, they have increased 5-folds. And they have been looking at a good number of over $1 billion worth of investments which have flown in from Qatar Investment Authority, and much more potential as it is. And I always believe that I have been told by Qatar Investment Authority that they are working and they are looking at possible opening up a full office in India in a due course. Hopefully, once we are over with the pandemic, waves out there. So certainly that will again add to it a new dimension as Qatar Investment Authority looks at India. I want to thank even our CAs, the ICI Doha chapter. They have been also, I believe, all our professionals here in Qatar, like our chartered accountants, they have an equal role and participation in promoting this environment, because I always believe that you understand the spreadsheets and the company's end of year results much better, and you can interpret what is a country, say country like India, what is its end of year balance sheet speaks about. So as chartered accountants, I think when you are in your positions able to speak about the balance sheet of India, I think that's very important for you to be able to analyze it, to spread that message of balance sheet of India. At the same time, you're working here, spreading the balance sheet of Qatar back home in India, so as to understand for the people in India, to understand what opportunity does it provide. I know Qatar again has a vision. They have, besides having the investment promotion agency, they have Qatar Free Zone, the Qatar QFC Financial Center, with which ICAI has signed an MOU, as also the Qatar Free, the Qatar Financial Center has this month also signed an MOU with the Indian Financial Services Center in Gift City in Gujarat. So there is a whole lot of kind of a cooperation institutional mechanism that has been developed around it. So with your support, I'm sure your better understanding of the balance sheets of the two economies will help to promote two-way flow of investments, trade, commerce in a comprehensive manner. Well, I've taken more time than I was allotted to me, but thank you very much. I thank IBPC and ICAI for taking this initiative. Thank you, Invest India, and a special thanks to Mr. Obaidwi for being available today and sharing in this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your wonderful address, sir. I'm sure it is indeed noteworthy to mention and reinitiate what you have said, that India is a hub of investment opportunities in the field of pharma, name it in the field of pharma sector or in the IT sector, or like we have been producing vaccines and also been supporting the other countries on humanitarian grounds by supplying the vaccines and all. So there is a lot of opportunities available, investment opportunities which is available in India. I'm sure Invest India will be throwing light on the opportunities available for Qatar as well as for India, both ways. Joint task force is something which you mentioned, which has been set up in between both the countries to facilitate the investments into the India and also to explore Qatar investments into the entire energy value chain in India. So that is noteworthy to mention. Also that a joint task force on energy has been entered into from Qatar sector, from Qatar side, so that we can collaborate and work on the investment sectors. Now, having said that, thank you so much for the address. And now we move on to the next segment, where it's a privilege for me to welcome a person, a leader, I would say, with a mission to better represent and support the Qatari business community and highlight the available business opportunities within the various sectors and industries in Qatar, and have amongst us a dynamic leader, Mr. Mohammed bin Ahmed Al Obaidi, a guest of honor for today's evening. Welcome, sir. Mr. Mohammed is an engineer by profession and is a third generation progeny of Al Obaidi family. After education, he took over the reins of the family business and since then has successfully managed and expanded the business in various industrial sectors in Qatar and other Middle East regions. Mr. Mohammed is chairman of Kingdom Investment Group, engaged in multidimensional activities. Under his leadership, prestigious projects have been accomplished in different sectors of industry in the state of Qatar, a testimony to the mission of the group to provide quality and reliable solution to all the clients. With an outlook for continuous development and expansion, he explores specialized business opportunities in technology-oriented industries and services. Mr. Mohammed has chaired and attended meetings on various national and foreign government ministries, Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Trade Delegation, business forums, technical seminars, and business-related gatherings at local, regional, and international levels. Being a board member of Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry, he belongs to a council who would diagnose, recommend, advise, and explore ways and means to serve better private sector in a better way to promulgate policies, rules, and guidelines for the business sector. Mr. Al Obaidi, entrepreneurial, proactive, strong-driven, and keen business mind, have continuously expanded the group of companies to high level of profitability and competitiveness through updated business policies. His methodological approach to planning and organizing has resulted in establishment of joint venture companies, creating strong business corporations with prominent foreign principals and partners in the state of Qatar. He is a chairman, a managing partner for OITC Group, Kingdom Investment Group chairman of the group, board member of Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Secretary General Business Council, Chairman Food Security and Environmental Committee, Deputy Chairman Arbitration Committee, Member Technical Committee for Private Sector Participation in Economic Development of Qatar, Member Government of Land Evaluation Committee, Chairman Qatar General Assurance and Reassurance Company. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a warm welcome with a virtual applause, and let's hear his views on bilateral investment opportunities in the state of Qatar. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this long introduction. First of all, I really would like to thank you for inviting me to participate in this event, which is a great event. And at the same time, I'd like to thank the chairman and the vice chairman and all the members of IBPC, and also His Excellency, the Ambassador, Mr. Deepak Mittal, for all what he has talked about Qatar and all what he has introduced. So I will start, my, let me say, discussion tonight. It's not a matter of something written, but I will go for much more practical things, as we are business people. So we'd like to hear more than it's only a courtesy things, and it's only that with what we got used to from all delegation where that they are visiting us. So we need them at the end of the day. They come, they are coming out with a result. They are coming out with a benefit, rather than only just we introduce ourselves and we are only looking for participating or attending such events. First of all, I think His Excellency, the Ambassador, he explained exactly what is our vision really here in Qatar and what is the Indian side. So I'd like to talk more. I will be more official rather than I'm talking about my private business, because here I'm representing the Qatar Chamber of Commerce. So I think the introduction you have given for my business, this is one side, but let us speak now what we would like to express to our Indian friends and Indian colleagues and the Indian investors from this side. What we are really looking for, and in Qatar, as what we said before, or you mentioned the delegation, before the pandemic, it is the market very attractive, and we are, I can tell you, just for the Chamber of Commerce, we are having more than 180 delegation per year we are receiving. That is, when I mean delegation, that to the level of a presidential and the prime ministers and ministers, every year that we are receiving that one. Even during the situation between the blockades and all these things, also we were very much attractive for such a things. Even now, when we are talking about the COVID pandemic, it is the same. The chamber is really very active. We try with all this delegation, to show them what are the opportunities and what is the best practice to do business here in Qatar. Also, at the same time, when we are preparing and we are arranging for the delegation coming to Qatar and preparing for such a things, we are telling the organizer and all these things, we need something before you bring or before you invite the companies. Please ask them, what do they need from Qatar and what do we need from them? Otherwise, you are just getting numbers of companies and they are not really as per what is Qatar needing or what is India also needing. This is from both sides. At the end of the day, it will be only a courtesy without any result. In Qatar here now, if we see what's going on, or let me talk about in particular the Indian. The historical relation between Qatar and India and the business people. And as you see, if it is 15,000 registered companies, Indian in Qatar, so that's mean it shows you the biggest investors are in Qatar. My question here, I'm asking also all the attendants and especially the companies, What do they know about Qatar rather than the companies from Qatar itself? If we go in a calculation, if we go through all this to analyze the companies, I can tell you 99% are companies started up in Qatar. Indian, they have started up in Qatar. It's not companies coming as an investor from India and Qatar. I mean, you will see that these people, they have started from nothing, and thanks God now they are coming to this level. What we need now is really the attraction to do, I think, all our business laws and economic laws and all these things. It is attracting much more now for the business. It gives the opportunities for establishing the company's investment 100%, whether it is in free zone, whether it is in even under the Ministry of Economy and the Trade and Commerce. It is still the same. Commerce and Industry. So it is still the same, that you can register a company with 100% and you can choose your law also. We have that in a free zone, it's not according to Qatari law. You can go to by British law and you can have the Qatari law. You can select whatsoever it is there. My question here to the people, what do you need more, or why it is still we don't see in our market those are the big investment company like what we see them in different neighbor countries? Okay, so what is the reason? I mean, just we need to understand. I mean, what it will let them not really to come and to attract them by this market with the opportunities which are available in this market, even if you don't know, I mean, if you don't want to work like in the market itself, but you can use it as a hub. Is it workable for you or not? This is again a question, because I like really to have some debate. I mean, in such a meeting, it's not only just a matter, I will sell you to attract you, this is good business. Maybe it will not be a good business for you, but okay, maybe a good opportunities that you can find it from Qatar, to use Qatar as a hub. There is a free zones, there is all this communication systems available, there is a good ports, there is a good airport, XYZ. Why we don't start like as a hub for the region? It is the same things. This is what we are trying to do. As also His Excellency, the old business style, sell and buy, it's no longer finished. Now we need to be becoming much more partners. Business of only looking for is how to sell to me. Also, I don't need it, because how to sell to me, I don't need it. We have suppliers from all over the world, especially we have learned during the blockade is really how to establish and how to have the right infrastructure and to diversify all our needs, getting importation from all over the world. So before we are getting through intermediate, through other countries, through now we know how to get it directly. We don't need all these things, okay? So you have to imagine if we are having all the world are coming to Qatar and everybody wants just to sell to us. Qatar is very small. We cannot afford just only buying from everybody. No, I mean, we built up our infrastructure to have investors. Even if they don't want to use it at the local market, they can use it at the international market from our side here in Qatar to use it as a hub. So what are the, the incentive this market is providing for you? Okay, that is the whole things that we are doing. Even for us in Qatar Chamber of Commerce, with all the committees is available, and because Qatar Chamber of Commerce is very active, I can tell you, and it is supporting all the private sector, even with the government. I mean, working very closely with the government for the rules and regulation and all things where it makes the business is more attractive in Qatar. Okay, we know that to be more transparent, that there are a lot of issues. There is a commitment of 2022. I mean, nobody is leaving us alone. You know, I mean, that is nobody is leaving us alone. I mean, the whole entire world, you know, they are scoping us from everywhere. I think due to this 2022, where it is our rules and regulation is becoming again much more attractive for the foreigner investment now, if they know what's going on. So let them to do their due diligence, let them to do all what they need about Qatar market, to see how it is happening in Qatar market, what are the attractive, and let us ask the people who has already the business in Qatar, how that they have established themselves. So we like to have, you know, I mean, even if you see the companies that they have established here or they have started up here in Qatar, you will find them whether it is in food stuff or in services and such a things. No, still we look for the knowledge base things, whether that we are talking about industries, whether we are talking about technologies, whether we are talking about you know, an added value to of what we have of our raw materials is available. Okay, for the downstream of our you know, basic products where we are having in Qatar. So this is the things that we can use as a raw material, we can use it as a hub, we can use as how to export such a things to the you know, nearby market or international market. You know, I mean, if we see now, especially with Qatar Industries in the oil and gas, or from the main, let me say, products, whether that we talk about the LNG, the gases, or the energies, or if we are talking about the petrochemical, we are very leader worldwide. But I can tell you in the downstream ones, no. This is where we need to attract. You know, this is what we need to do such a things. There is no need for all companies to be like multi-billions or okay, but there is still a chance for the hundreds of millions to work in this market, and they can make at the end of the day much more profit and return on their investment, especially when you work on added values industries. At the same time, like, again, let us hear from all the participants, what do they need from us to let them be attracted to work in Qatar? And this is it's not a matter of I'm just saying something. Always I will say something good, but you know, I might not really express what is on your mind exactly, why you are hesitating to come to Qatar. This is what we like, because it might help us also as a chamber. It might help us as a decision maker, as a government, to express to them. We tell them, listen, guys, you have done everything, but still, let me say, the Indian big companies are still not coming. Why? Okay, I like to hear these things from you, and I think this is what is my participation is mostly to be done. Otherwise, we can tell you about a lot of opportunities, a lot of businesses which are there, and what we need to develop, what we need to make, you know, especially now, if you see the cyber security, which is also Indians are good in these things. Technology, Indians are good in these things. But not only we need the Indian companies who wants to sell to us. To sell, I can tell you all the world that they are trying to sell to us. To tell me food security, during the blockade, everybody think that we are dying, we don't have food. Everybody comes, they said, okay, we send you food, we send you food, we send you food. You know, we are not really at that position just to send the food to us, or we don't have the food, or we are only just importing the food. No. We need somebody to come to say, yes, we can do these things there in Qatar. We can export to Qatar. If it works, you know, I mean, if it is attractive and if it is really from, you know, economic point of view, it is visible. This is the things that we need to put our hands together and to start to do such a business. Most of the companies, as I told you here, I mean, from I'm talking now as a personal experience and even the government experience. So if you see the things, how it is happening, so many of the companies, they have done JVs with pool of resources. You know, pool of resources. Okay, that is a big one. This is a small. They join together. They are becoming all both are big. Somebody is having the know-how. Somebody is having the facilities. There is nothing. Is to start from scratch. You can start from scratch if you need, but it will be more costly for you. But it is also, there is something called pool of resources where we have done with so many of the international companies, we have succeeded and all these things, you know, like, let me say, where are your reserved is there that you are having the access of reserved, whether it is in something, let me say, physical or something in assets and all these things, I can utilize it with the experience of somebody else. Or the opposite. This is how that we have started a lot of international business. And I think here I'm not just advising the Indian. The Indians, they know how to do it. It's very good, better than me also. They know how to do it. And they have started from nothing here with businesses and all these things. And they are very much successful businessmen. So this is what I can say. But I like to hear now. I like to hear from the people. What do they need from us to come to Qatar? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for throwing that insights on what is required for India or other countries to make Qatar more attractive. And right, like you rightly told or emphasized, saying that joining hands together to work for a result-oriented approach. I think this is something which is very critical, and we need to see what is the final result. Because if we want to make, like for instance, if we want to make an investment also to conclude, so we must, there has to be two parties who will be interested, and we have to facilitate that. So thank you so much, sir, for taking your valuable time out and addressing us for today's most special and unique event, the Bilateral Investment Summit. Having said that, at IBPC, we also enhance the economic diversity and attract foreign investments, both in India and Qatar, and also exert all the positive efforts to enhance the position of both the countries as a destination for business and investment. With this, I hand over the control back to the CA Nirla Bhatt, the chairperson of Doha chapter of ICAI, over to the next proceedings. Over to you, Nirla. Thank you so much. Nirla? I think he's not there. May I request Ankit Agarwal to take the proceedings further, please?
Thank you so much, CA. Thank you so much, CA Rupalakshmi Sethi. Okay, I think ICAI President is not joining, so I will be taking the proceeding further with that. Good evening, His Excellency Mr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to Qatar, Guest of Honor, Mohammed bin Ahmed Al Obadi, Board Member, Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In absentia, Guest of Honor, CA Nihar and Jambusaria, ICAI President, IBPC President Jafar Siddiq, and to all the members and the guests attending the session today. Now it's the time for the much awaited session for the evening, Invest India session, Ease of Doing Business in India. The session will be conducted by the highly professional and renowned speaker from India. It is my honor to introduce the first speaker for the evening, Astha Tyagi ma'am. Astha Tyagi is an Assistant Vice President with Invest India, the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency of the Government of India. She leads and manages the tourism and hospitality, Ayush, women and child development and textile sector and Invest India, along with the entire Middle East and Africa region. An ex-investment banker by profession, she has a vast experience cutting across domain and functional expertise, especially in the real estate, hospitality, defense, aerospace and textile industries, wellness and impact investing space. Previously, she has worked in the transaction advisory services at Ernst & Young India, which focus on fundraising alternative, including MA, equity and structure funding. She topped the MBA program from ISB Hyderabad and has done her undergraduation from Shri Ram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. Now I'd like to introduce the second speaker for the evening, Ritik Ravindran sir. Ritik Ravindran is an associate with Invest India, the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency of Government of India. He's a part of Middle East and Africa team and also a part of Ayush Strategic Policy and Facilitation Bureau, a specialized desk working under the agency of Ministry of Ayush. A lawyer by profession, he has vast experience in working with boutique corporate law firms catering to MNCs and ultra HNIs. He did his post-graduation in law from the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, and has an honors degree in sociology from Hindu College, University of Delhi. Can we have a very, very big virtual round of applause for both the speakers for tonight? The stage is all yours, Asta Tyagi ma'am and Ravindran sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and a very good evening to everyone. That was a very warm welcome, and we're so privileged to be a part of this event today. Good evening, Your Excellency, Dr. Mittal, Ambassador of India to Qatar, Mr. Al-Obaid, lead board member of Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In absentia, Mr. Jamusaria, ICI President, colleagues from IBPC, Ms. Monica, Mr. Nirlap, ladies and gentlemen. It's our pleasure to address this August gathering today. The bilateral relations between India and Qatar are decades old, and we are very, very grateful that we can be small cogs in the big wheel to further contribute to the close ties, especially to the three major hallmarks of both our governments: the people-to-people connect, the business-to-business connect, and the government-to-government connect. While my colleague, Mr. Ravindran, will of course walk us through an insightful presentation right after this, I just wanted to set the context, put some things into perspective about the robust investment ecosystem and the economic ecosystem in the country. The economic turmoil that was caused due to the pandemic resulted in significant losses for the world in terms of lives and livelihood alike. Global growth, investment, and trade saw significant fall in figures. Bound by the same challenges, India has shown remarkable resilience through the pandemic and has used this opportunity to strengthen its economy and rejuvenate its commitment to serving the most vulnerable. The country used this opportunity and enhanced the pace of structural reforms during this period. Remaining true to the spirit of creating a truly globalized world with no boundaries, our government has enacted several watershed laws in the arenas of ease of doing business. We introduced improved guidelines for insolvent and bankrupt firms, IPR laws, obtaining construction permits, land procurement processes, starting a new business in India, making India an attractive destination for carrying out business. Recently, the National Single Window System, the NSWS, was launched in September 2021, a digital one-stop shop for taking all the regulatory approvals and services in the country. This has in fact enabled India to become one of the largest startup ecosystems in the world, amongst the top three. Only in the last year, we've seen 42 global unicorns coming into the space, thereby exemplifying the kind of business and the kind of startup ecosystem that the country has. India has registered the highest ever annual FDI inflow of $82 billion in 2020-2021, while also attracting total FDI inflows of $27 billion during our first 4 months of the current fiscal FY22, which is 62% higher as compared to the corresponding period of FY21. Our GDP has fully recovered in Q2 of FY22 in real terms compared to the pre-pandemic levels, and India is on its way to become the world's third largest economy by 2030. In fact, most of the key industrial sectors surpassed the pre-pandemic levels, including iron and steel, textiles, machinery, pharmaceuticals, and dairy products. Even on the exports front, India has achieved the highest ever monthly exports of close to $37 billion in December 2021 alone. India's merchandise exports in April to November 2021 were at $262 billion, which is an increase of 51% over $174 billion in the same period of the previous year. I choose to highlight these numbers for no other reason other than the economic parameter that these represent, to reiterate India's pledge to collaboration and collective economic recovery in these challenging times. It would be safe to say that India has looked at the challenges posed by the pandemic as ongoing opportunities to completely transform the economy. While India has focused on infrastructural development as the key to business and livelihood transformation, we have approached the issue with renewed vigor since the onset of the pandemic, especially targeting supply chain disruptions posed by the health crisis throughout the world. And some of the next line items that I touch upon are going to be evidence of the work, of the collaborative work that the government is doing, along with some of the key investable opportunities that are thrown open for the world to participate in. Leveraging the power of digitalization, we launched our historic Gati Shakti National Master Plan for multimodal connectivity to economic zones. This will be a transformational tool in terms of use of spatial data in planning, breaking of interdepartmental silos, and bringing more integrated holistic planning, which is expected to give huge dividends in terms of bringing down the logistics cost. This is coupled with the $1.4 trillion National Infrastructure Plan, which will make a foundation for holistic infrastructure and give an integrated pathway to Indian economy. Besides, the National Monetization Plan, the NMP, was launched as an asset monetization initiative in central ministries and public entities. The pipeline has been developed with estimated monetization potential of close to $81 billion from FY22, the current fiscal, all the way up to FY25. Together, the NIP, the National Infrastructure Plan, and NMP, the National Monetization Plan that I talked about, create a virtuous cycle of investment in the infrastructure sector, thereby driving growth. It is the government's integrated approach to developing modern railways, roadways, waterways, airways, with a focus on increasing productivity of industries, reducing logistics costs, and enhancing employment opportunities. We are spending record amounts in building roads, connecting every part of the country, constructing new airports in the remotest parts, and laying new railway tracks that make India future ready. Beg your pardon. Our government has constantly been working on reforms towards providing better infrastructure in the country. Why this is important is because infrastructure is the cornerstone of any economy to thrive in, is the cornerstone of attracting more investments. Because at the end of the day, if the logistics cost as a big cost center is seeing a downward trend, it increases, of course, the top line. Government is investing in a first-of-its-kind exercise to build world-class infrastructure and attract investments into infrastructure in the country under the National Infrastructure Pipeline, with an investment outlay of $1.4 trillion across 9,000 plus projects across these sectors in the next 5 years. Another very unique initiative called One District, One Product, ODOP, was launched by the government to foster balanced regional development across all districts of the country by converting each district of the country into an export hub, and by identifying export potentials in each district, resolving the bottlenecks in its exports, and converting them into export hubs. For example, the Lakadong turmeric from Meghalaya has been one of the pilot projects and a very successful one. We exported it with our other bilateral countries, and it has seen an increase in the output in that region, as well as the orders that the district is getting. So we're trying to do that now, and probably that's one of the other models that we can also pursue with Qatar, is to explore a buyer-seller meet, or is to explore an ODOP mechanism whereby we connect our domestic local manufacturers of products with the products that are imported into Qatar, and create a mechanism for buyers and sellers to meet with, and to leverage this platform. To also encourage industries to make in India for the world, the country introduced 14 production-linked incentive schemes, PLIs, worth, say, about $26 billion to boost manufacturing, form resilient supply chains, make our industries more competitive, and boost export potential. In addition to this, we introduced $10 billion incentive plans to establish a fab and chip display industry in India. Further, there are many opportunities in a wide variety of sectors which have already opened up for private participation, such as telecom, insurance, defense, aerospace, and now semiconductors. It is our pleasure, and it will be our honor, to help support anyone who looks towards India to do business in India. It is truly the right time to be a part of the Indian growth story. The new India has effectively prioritized economic expansion, at the same time not losing sight of the importance of sustainability and sustained growth. An attractive FDI flow during the last fiscal, an economy that is projected to grow multifold across the next few fiscals. It makes India an attractive investment destination for an investment. Further, India has a huge demographic advantage owing to the fact that India has the highest youngest working population in the world, which is only expected to grow further in the next 25 years. From swift and result-oriented vaccine research to building successful startups right in the middle of the pandemic, and to sustain growth to building a green economy, India is trying to find answers to the biggest problems in the world. And we welcome everyone to invest in India, and Invest India will be your partners throughout your investment journey. Thank you so much. Over to Ritik.
Thank you, Asta. Good evening, Your Excellency Dr. Mittal, Mr. Mohammad Ubaidli, dignitaries from the Embassy, and the esteemed guests of the Doha chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the India Business Professional Councils. Sorry. I'm Ritik Ravindran, as very kindly introduced by the moderator Ankit. And today, as part of the Bilateral Summit on Investments, we'll be going over the topic of the ease of doing business in India. Mr. Rakesh, could I just request you to please project the presentation, please? So what exactly is ease of doing business? The ease of doing business index was an index created by the World Bank, which largely indicated better, simpler regulations for businesses and stronger protection of their rights. So although World Bank has discontinued this report from last year, but such reports have lent great perspective on what are the policies that need to be achieved and how and what all that can be done to create an ecosystem where businesses can flourish. Next slide, please. Right. So Qatar and India are two countries who strive to be change makers and are committed in creating a conducive environment for business. This is also reflective in our deep ties, as the ambassador mentioned, which is culturally, socially, and economically. So bilaterally, we have seen many initiatives that both governments have taken to improve economic ties, which are from signing of MOUs to constitution of a joint task force on investments. So now what I'll do over the next 30 odd minutes is I'll just broadly walk you through the commercial and investment relations that exist between India and Qatar. Next slide, please. So as the president of IBPC has already mentioned, and I'll also be mentioning it again, so Qatar and India's bilateral trade in 2020 to 2021 was around 9.21 billion. India has exported to Qatar has around 1.28 billion, and India's imports from Qatar has also been around 7.93 billion. Whereas largely our trade has been with respect to LNG, but it is also pushing over to other sectors as well. Now, India has been a major investment destination for Qatar, where you have seen major investments from the Qatar Investment Authority over the past year. And this has been over the last couple of years itself. Now, if you look to your screen, you will see these major companies which are very recognizable to you. And Qatar Investment Authority has these are major investments, has invested deeply in them, with Airtel being around 200 million in 2019, Byju's being 150 million in 2019 again. In 2020, we saw 450 million in the Adani's transmission port, where there was a 25% stake in the company. In 2021, we saw 100 million being invested in Verse Innovation, which is along with Great Broke Capital partners. In 2021, there was a record investment of 800 million, along with other investment groups in Swiggy. Now, such investments only go on to prove that India has now become a new reliable destination and is slowly shifting away from countries such as China. Next slide, please. Now, what exactly has led to this resurgence and this new shift from traditional countries to new emerging countries such as India? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll actually go over the new economic reforms and the new strengths that the people of India have possessed, which is now being recognized world over. India has actually become a reliable destination, and I'd like to run you through some of the facts and figures to show the same. So India has a global GDP rank has moved from 9th in 2010 to 5th in 2021. The GDP has grown more than 700% since 1995. India is estimated to become the third largest economy by 2030, reaching $7 to $8 trillion. The size of the consumption market is expected to reach 4.8 to 5 trillion by 2030, registering a 10 to 11% growth over 2019. India will have 197 million affluent households by 2030, which is up from 69 million in 2019. To give you perspective, the state of Qatar is home to 2.8 million people. Next slide, please. Now, despite the second wave, India's GDP in April to June quarter 1 of the financial year 2021 to 2022 has expanded by 20.1% year on year. So India's merchandise exports in August 2021 were 33.14 billion. This is an increase by 45.17% over USD of 22.83 billion in August 2020, an increase of 27.5% over 25.99 billion in August 2019. So top performing export commodities included engineering goods, petroleum products, agricultural products, allied products, organic, inorganic, chemicals, drugs and pharmaceuticals, electric goods, cotton, yarn, media plastic, and linoleum. Next slide, please. So India has received 64 billion in FDI inflows in 2020. This was the 5th largest recipient in the world. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is in the year when the pandemic hit the world over. We registered a 27% year-on-year increase from 51 billion in 2019. The increase in FDI was spurred by acquisitions in the ICT and construction industry. Some of the major deals were the tower infrastructure interest Brookfield, the Brookfield Asset Management Company, which again jointly invested around 3.7 billion, Unilever and GSK, L&T and Schneider, Larsen & Turbo Strategic's disinvestments of its electric and automobile business to Schneider was around 2.1 billion. Facebook and Jio had a big investment of around 5.7 billion, as you all would know. And in quarter 1 of financial year 22, India has received 22.5 billion in FDI. Now, this is again registered a 90% year-on-year growth. Next slide, please. On a year-to-date basis in July, India has been the 3rd largest recipient of foreign portfolio investments among major emerging markets after China and Brazil. Now, domestic market, equity market has been one of the best performers globally. In May 21, India was the 8th largest market in terms of market cap, which stood at $3 trillion. Now, in June 21, accounting for 2.6% of the world market capitalization, its MCAP rose from 66% in 1 year to USD 3.02 trillion, outpacing the 44% growth in the global MCAP. By August 2021, India's MCAP had reached 3.4 trillion. In US dollar terms, India's benchmark included indices, the Sensex and Nifty often gained of 8.3 to 10.8%, respectively, as against the 6.9% of the MSCI Emerging Markets Index and 12.5% of the MSCI World Index. Next slide, please. As you can see, there has been a significant year-on-year growth in very key sectors and certain business activities that most certainly point towards a shift in the trend. Most notably, UPI transactions, which have a 109% year-on-year growth, export, passenger vehicles, GST collection, e-bill way, all have significant growth. And all these are growth trends that are a testament to how businesses are changing and evolving in India. Next slide, please. So between March 20 and March 2021, the Indian Stock Exchange, that's the BSE and the National Stock Exchange including, India ranked 9th in the world in terms of the numbers of IPOs that were conducted. So 22 IPOs were completed during this period with a valuation of 2.5 billion in proceeds. The year-on-year growth in the period of IPOs and proceeds stood at 83% and 82% respectively. IPOs with largest proceeds included the Indian Railway Finance Corporation Limited, which is around 634 million, and Brookfield Indian Real Estate Trust, which was around 522 million, and even Kalyan Jewelers, which was around 162 million. So there were around 5 IPOs in the diversified industrial products and consumer products and retail category. This was followed by 4 in automotive and transportation, 3 in banking and capital markets, 1 in telecommunications and technology. And there are around 31 more IPOs in the pipeline that are there in the rest of the year. Next slide, please. So between January and July 2021, India received 16.1 billion in VC funding, making it the second largest in the Asia Pacific region. Now, India has the 3rd largest ecosystem in the world. As of January 2022, India is home to 81 unicorns. So I have written 79 here, but in the meantime, before I could even update this presentation, we had added 2 more unicorns to this. And this is the 3rd highest globally with a valuation of 274 billion. In 2021, India had added 42 unicorns. This is the highest number in any calendar year. So Mumbai, Delhi, NCR, and Bangalore are the preferred unicorn headquarters in the country. Now, we've heard a World Economic Report where Delhi has now outpaced Bangalore as the startup capital in the country, where India has also got various strategic bridges and international bridges with 11 countries to facilitate integration of domestic ecosystems with foreign ecosystems. And we are also looking one right now, as His Excellency had mentioned, with the state of Qatar, where we're trying to understand and explore startup opportunities and take it the next step forward. The next slide, please, Rakesh. Now, but all these economic factors are pointing to how well India's growth story has been and how we're marching on ahead in full steam is a consequent and a culmination of a variety of policies and schemes that the government has implemented to increase the ease of doing of business in India. So now I'll just walk you through the various policies and schemes. Next slide, please. The production-linked incentive scheme. So in order to boost the domestic manufacturing and cut down on import bills, the Union government in 2020 March had introduced the production-linked incentive scheme. Now, this had aimed at giving companies incentives on incremental sales from products manufactured in domestic units. So apart from inviting foreign companies to set up shop in India, the scheme is also aimed at encouraging local companies to set up or expand their existing manufacturing units. So the scheme has also been approved for sectors such as automobile, pharmaceutical, IT hardware, including laptops, mobile phones, telecom equipment, white goods, chemicals, cells, food processing, etc. Very recently, I think you must have witnessed that the Union Minister for Electronics and Information and Technology had come out and notified regarding the second round of the scheme that is now largely targeted at manufacturing of electric components and semiconductors, which is a shortage which hit the global supply chains in a massive way during the pandemic because of our over-dependence on China for the same. So the entire PLI scheme is somewhat a way to take away and take the opportunity and get production into India. So the entire PLI scheme is expected to add around 520 billion to our GDP over the next 5 years. Next slide, please. So the India Industrial Land Bank. So with the ease of doing business, the government has also taken it a step further to introduce modalities to make it digitized for the investor, to make it transparent. So India Industrial Land Bank is such a national GIS land bank which has 4,489 industrial parks that are mapped across 5 lakh hectares of land. And this information is allotted, and the available plots and the contact details, the nodal points of connectivity, etc., are just few clicks away on the website. The India Industrial Land Bank has an integrated system with the GIS system of 15 states for even more plot level information. So such a digital system allows the investor to gauge at a land opportunity available and make informed decisions in a much lesser time as compared to the traditional system where one would go physically and inspect the land and then take an informed decision. Next slide, please. The industrial park rating system. So the industrial park rating system was developed for the user to evaluate the competitiveness of an industrial park against global benchmarks on 4 metrics. So the 4 metrics were internal infrastructure and utilities, external infrastructure, the connectivity, and the business services, and the facilities and the environment and other safety management. It is an extension of the India Industrial Land Bank portal, which you saw previously, which features more than 4,400 industrial parks and in the GIS-enabled database. This is to help investors to identify preferred locations for investments. This is aimed at optimizing resource utilization to enhance the efficiency of the manufacturing sector in India. Next slide, please. The National Single Window System. This is an integral component of our Prime Minister Modi's vision in the Make in India plan. The creation of the National Single Window System is aimed at providing a time-bound approval and real-time status updates to investors. Now, I understand that some may have various doubts regarding the National Single Window System, the Industrial Park Rating System, the Industrial Land Banks, etc. Right? So consider the National Single Window System to be the first step. And in an entrepreneur looking to invest would scout the various prospects available across the country. Investments are typically a lengthy process. The Industrial Park Rating System will be required to step in only once the essential inquiries have been addressed on the National Single Window System. Its purpose is to aid in a thoughtful consideration by offering layers of more intricate facts on a very specific topic. Next slide, please. The custom bonded warehouses. The custom bonded warehouse scheme was a scheme that was established to give investors the benefit of an SEZ, a specialized economic zone, to at any location across the country. The scheme allows the investor to enjoy duty-free imports of inputs and capital goods when engaging in exports. This also combines the benefits offered by other schemes of the government of India on imports and capital goods into one scheme. So the custom bonded warehouse scheme also allows the investors domestic market access without payment of any additional duty on the end product. Something which is not possible when selling the product in the domestic market out of an SEZ. So, however, the deferred custom duties would still need to be paid so as to not offer the custom bonded warehouse an unfair advantage over manufacturing entities outside the scheme and allow a very level playing field across the spectrum. Next slide, please. So given that has all been discussed here, I'm actually way out of my depth in explaining GST to all the CAs that are present here, that are there in attendance. I'm sure you would know much more about the GST more than me, but for the benefit of our larger audience here and the guests and the dignitaries present here. So the GST stands for the Goods and Services Tax. It is an indirect tax which is introduced to replace a host of other indirect tax such as value added tax, service tax, purchase tax, excise duty, and so on. GST is levied on a supply of a certain goods and services in India. It is applicable all over India. Hope I have adequately covered this, and I'm sure Mr. Nirlep would correct me if I'm wrong in this. Next slide, please. The empowered group of secretaries and the product development cells. On the 3rd of June, the Union Cabinet had approved the creation of the empowered group of secretaries on investments and project development cells to fast track investments and grow the investment pipeline of the country. So the empowered group of secretaries is to provide support and facilitation to investors for investing in India and to boost growth in key sectors of the Indian economy through coordination with senior members of the government of India. So we create an investment friendly and business conducive ecosystem is what their outlined mandate is. We do this by recommending policies, intervention to ministries and departments, recommending sector, geographic specific incentive packages with a focus on cutting edge technology, R&D and export promotion. There is identification of key focus sectors to drive the R&D as well as import substitution through appropriate policy measures. The project development cells is the creation of a specialized desk in central government ministries and departments with a focus on the growing of the India's investment pipeline, developing new investable projects and supporting investors in a new and existing projects. So we do this by reviewing a list of potential investors, engaging them and facilitating their investment plans, identifying policy interventions sought by the industry, evaluation of the existing pipeline of projects, and the next steps that need to be taken for implementation. We can proudly say that Invest India very happily hands-on facilitates and helps the empowerment group of secretaries and the project development cells in all their endeavors, and will continue to do so. Next slide, please. Now, there are a number of other key reforms that have been taken for the ease of doing of business in India. Rakesh, could I have the next slide, please? In a very broad gist, it is the National Master Plan for the Multimodal Infrastructure Connectivity, which is how, as Asta mentioned, the PM's Gati Shakti Master Plan. It is 100 lakh crore plan with a centralized portal of all the existing and planned infrastructure initiatives of 16 central ministries and departments, the national IPR policy. This is amended patent rules to streamline application and expedite the process of IPR across in trademark examination and bring it down accordingly. There are labor reforms, 29 central major labor laws and 4 codes were reformed to give more flexibility to the industry in the hiring and retrenchment policy as it was there. We've also seen changes in the insolvency and bankruptcy code, automatic FDI limits in the insurance and defense sector, where the government has increased the FDI limit under the automatic route to 74% for insurance in the defense sector. Next slide, please. So now I'll be going over the infrastructural opportunities that have been seen in accordingly in the next, as Asta mentioned, the National Infrastructure Pipeline and the National Monetization Pipeline. Next slide, please. So here we have the National Infrastructure Pipeline. So the National Infrastructure Pipeline for the financial year 29 to 25 is the first of its kind. The whole of government exercise to provide world-class infrastructure to citizens and improve their quality of life. So it is aimed at providing a project preparation that attracts investments into infrastructure. So it is a pipeline of greenfield and brownfield infrastructure projects of a national significance. So the cost of the per project is usually has to be greater than 100 crores. So this covers 7,400 plus projects with a cumulative value of 111 lakh crores. which is spread across 34 infra subsectors and 24 central ministries and departments overlook it. Next slide, please. So the National Monetization Pipeline. So the government had unveiled this 4-year National Monetization Pipeline, and this is estimated to be around 6 lakh crores. But this is by engaging the private sector to do the public sector's work. This would broadly, what this would do is unlock value in brownfield projects via the private sector by transferring them the revenue right, but not the ownership in the projects, and using the funds generated for infrastructure creation across the country. So there are around 20 plus asset classes across 12 plus sectors as per the pipeline, and 15% of the assets would be monetized in financial year 22. The National Monetization Pipeline will also co-run terminus with the National Infrastructure Pipeline. Next slide, please. Now, keeping in view that a great part of the country's development is also keenly viewed on how the financial world looks at it, India has also taken great steps to invite financial institutions to come and set their base in India. And this has been with the setting up of the International Financial Services Centers, GIFT City. Next slide, please. Now the GIFT City. The GIFT City stands for the Gujarat International Financial Tech City, or GIFT City. It is India's first operational greenfield, smart and international financial services center. So going forward, IFSC will be a prominent hub for financial services and for global transactions. It is intended to encourage foreign capital to participate in India's growth journey. This would allow financial institutions, fund managers to compete in the international market through a globally competitive platform offering the varied of financial products and services. Next slide, please. Now, IFSC is an opportunity to global businesses to set up a wide variety of business verticals in banking, insurance, fund, asset management, capital markets, trade, IT services, ITS, BPO services. Several tax and insurance incentives have been accorded by the government to business units established in the IFSC in each of these segments. There is 100% corporate tax exemption for 10 out of the 15 years. Minimum alternative tax percent of 0%. No CTC, no CTT, STT, GST, or stamp duty. No capital gains tax. Withholding tax at the rate of 4% on interest paid on debt instruments, and a competitive AIF tax regime. Now, this is all in all to promote financial institutions to come into the Indian ecosystem and set up at the IFSC GIFT City. Next slide, please. With all this, I'm sure the esteemed guests will now have a wider understanding of the variety of schemes, policies, and initiatives that is being run by the government. Now, these are all aimed at facilitating, increasing, and easing business in India. With that being said, I would now like to walk you through what our CEO and MD likes, and this is like India in a minute. These are certain facts, figures, which I'm sure would be an eye-opener for you all. Now, India in a minute creates 5 million worth of GDP, receives $155,000 worth of FDI, 1.2 million merchandise and services are exported, and 900 people are employed, all ladies and gentlemen, in 1 minute. Next slide, please. In India, in 1 minute, 8,000 COVID vaccinations are happening. 20 foreign tourists arrive in India, and India departs 50 foreign tourists for foreign travel. There is 1.3 million worth of digital payments that happens in India in 1 minute. In US, a 5% market, US 5 million of market capitalization is created all in India in within 1 minute. Next slide, please. The selectors also have a very interesting story to tell in this new India, where a lot happens in a minute. Next slide, please. In India, 609 mobile phones are sold in 1 minute. 160 mobile phones are sold online. All this is worth around 54,000 worth US dollars. India exports around 39,000 worth dollars of pharmaceuticals in 1 minute every day. There are 2,203 users that subscribe to a mobile connection every day. And 1,300 of those are connected to the internet, translating to 750 social media users. Next slide, please. In 1 minute in India, 15,000 passengers are facilitated by the railways. We sell merchandise worth $75,000 on e-commerce websites, and there has been a three times sales since 2015 in this domain. 64,000 digital payments are proceeded, and 50 vehicles are produced and 9 vehicles are exported in India in every minute. Next slide, please. With all this, India has time again proved to be a leader amongst the lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now walk you through the select categories where India has always led the way. India ranks #1 in outsourcing the destination for IT and BPM. It's the #1 provider of universal health insurance scheme, the Ayushman Bharat, which is the largest in size across all countries. It is the #1 in the approval of biosimilars and the #1 in the population of livestock. Next slide, please. Well, #2 is not very bad, but we are #2 world over in production of and consumption of footwear, production of fruits and vegetables, and number of US FDA approved plants outside of the US, and a number of US mobile phone subscriptions that are taken. Next slide, please. Size of the fintech ecosystem, we are #3 in that. We are the 3rd highest spenders of military in the world over, and the destination for biotech in the APAC region, and the production of poultry. Next slide, please. With all that being said, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for having bared with me through this long presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to write to us at the email mentioned here. I once again thank you all for this opportunity that you've given me. It is indeed a great time that we're witnessing now. The world is witnessing, the world is a witness to the testament of India. And as we approach our 75th year of independence and we celebrate our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we all welcome you to step into a new India. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Can I ask him something? Invest India?
Yes, Mr. Mohammed.
Yes. If it is possible that I need this presentation, to be sent to us to the Chamber of Commerce, the one that you have done in soft copy. At the same time, I need to know much more about the opportunities which are available, especially when we are talking about investment in PPP projects and infrastructures, and especially when I'm talking about investment. I'm not talking about to be as operator or to invest in infrastructure, whether it is in railways, whether it is in airport, ports, and all these things. So please, if they are the opportunities which they look for foreigner investor in a bigger scale, that is the things. And the last one is the contacts, if it is possible, with their mobiles numbers, not only just their cards and emails, of the people who are involved in all these things whenever that we need to ask, and especially with the top management and decision makers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Obetli. I'm sorry if I'm interjecting, Ritik. We will be more than happy to provide you the opportunities across all the subsegments of infrastructure. My team and I will be in contact with you right after, to take this discussion forward. We will introduce you both to the IIG, which is the which is the platform for all investable opportunities which are listed on that platform. Alongside that, we will call out a list of opportunities from India Investment Grid as well as from the various ministries and forward those to you. And we will take it forward in terms of whatever you have any clarifications or questions that you so have, we would be more than happy to facilitate and furnish clarifications to you. We will also drop our coordinates with you for pursuant to this meeting, and you can reach out to us on WhatsApp, mobile, what have you.
That is the context I need, and especially that with the opportunities, if there are studies and teasers are there, that would be more than happy to receive it, please, because especially for the main big projects. And we prefer more like the running project where it needs with finance.
Okay, understood, noted.
Thank you. If you need the sectors, we can discuss it later on, whether it is tourism, infrastructures, all these things. That is which it has potential there.
Sure. I'll request Nirlabji and his team to just share your contact details with us, your email ID and so forth, so that we can take action on this conversation that we've just had.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guest of honor, Mr. Mohammed. And yes, Astaji, immediately we will share it with you, and in consonant with Your Excellency, we'll be guided and take it further. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me again. I hope, inshallah, we will do it again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I may come in here and want to thank a wonderful presentation, Astaji and Ritik, and Excellency Mr. Mohammed, really, thank you very much for staying with us. One, I would like to highlight what was mentioned by Excellency Mr. Mohammed Al-Ubaidli. I would ask IBPC and to kindly maybe give the feedback which Excellency has desired in terms of our businesses working here in Qatar. What is it, their experiences of doing business in Qatar, and what is it, what are their expectations of the authorities here in terms of enhancing business in an investment, aware and availing of the investment opportunities. Maybe we can do another roundtable with Excellency's gracious presence, where the feedback can be given to His Excellency so that he get an opportunity to also hear, a very clear, kind of feedback. I really appreciate, Excellency, your great willingness and, very forward-looking thing about, we need to see actual results on the ground, and to willingness to accept and hear the feedback, which can help to kind of motivate and take us to conclusion. And also onto your query, and as Invest India team has promised, we will work closely and give you the feedback on the opportunity specific sector wise too. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
So much, Your Excellency, and thank you so much, Excellency Al-Ubaidli. We're always guided by your leadership and your words, and we hope to continue to do that work, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance and kind words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asta Tyagi ma'am and Ritik Ravindran, sir, for such insightful presentation with so many graphs, facts, and the figure. And right now, it's the right time to invest in the new India, definitely. So now I would like to hand over the session to CA Kamlesh for the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, CA Kamlesh.
Thank you, Ankit, and thank you to all of you who are present here at this moment. It's very late in India, as well as it's around 8:30 here. Thank you all for being present here. I can say indeed it has been a successful bilateral investment summit based on the last 10 minutes talk, where numbers are going to be exchanged and feedback, groundwork materializing into something. I hope that happens. First of all, I would like to thank our chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal. You have been a constant pillar of support, encouragement, and motivation for us. We are indeed thankful to you for all your support that you have given us to Doha chapter of ICI. I would like to thank our guest of honor, Mohammed bin Ahmed Al-Ubaidli, board member of Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Indeed, sir, I liked your frank question. What is it that you want from us? I can assure you, had I had that much money, you would have seen me outside your doorstep right now saying, yes, sir, I want this, take this, and give me this. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank IBPC President Mr. Jaffer, Vice President Rupa Lakshmi Sethi, and all members of IPPC for collaborating with Doha chapter of ICI to make this event a successful event. Thank you very much for that. To our speakers from Invest India, Ms. Asta Tyagi and Mr. Ritik Ravindran, thank you for presenting those statistics as well as highlighting the incentives of the current government in order to for the incentives and the initiatives that this government is giving in order to bring foreign direct investment as well as boosting domestic investment. I would say this event would not have happened at a more opportune moment, being the eve of Indian Budget 2022, which is upcoming tomorrow. I hope we will see more incentives being given in the budget, which would attract investors from all over the world, especially from Qatar also. Lastly, I would like to thank our members of Doha chapter of ICI who have been encouraging us by attending all events. And today also we started the event with around 90 to 100 members, and we can see approximately 75, 80 members are still there. I would like to thank all of them. And I would also like to thank our executive committee who have been working tirelessly to bring such events to all of you. Thank you once again to one and all who have attended this event. Stay safe and have a good week forward. Thank you once again. With this, we officially end our program. Good night.
Good night. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
His Excellency.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.